after I've left the government, but you imposed a very punishing schedule on us, wanting updates on a fortnight basis of what you are doing to address the mess in the education sector.
So guys, welcome to our video. Kindly, for those who have not subscribed to our video or to our channel, I want to welcome you. Future Talks is your channel, and thank you for the support you have always given the channel, and also hope you enjoy what you are doing like always. And like I promised you, I want you to enjoy our channel, and also more good videos are coming. Let me know if you are enjoying the kind of environment and the backgrounds we always share in our channel, so that I get you the best video as much as possible, so that you get to enjoy actually what we really enjoy. That's a plant. That's a gooseberry plant here, so you can see. And also we have this other side, we have our famous sugar cane there. So that's a shot of the same. Those are sugarcane leaves. As you can take a closer look and see, that's how sugarcane looks. And actually we have one there, which we have many there which are ready for eating. So you can see they're really tall, so you can have a look and see. So guys, those are beautiful and also succulent sugarcane here, as you get to see what we take here in Africa. So Africa is beautiful, and we get to enjoy very great environment, very beautiful flowers here, as you can see. Yeah, so that's what we enjoy here in Africa, guys. You can have a look and also enjoy the kind of environment which we enjoy here in Africa. So very beautiful views as you get to check. Africa is great, and we get to enjoy such kind of environment. So today I want to go more political and share something on the politics of especially the country called Kenya. Kenya is a country which is situated in Africa. You can check on your map wherever you are in the world. Kenya makes a lot of headlines. Most of them they are good, yes. And also is a country found in East Africa. Yeah, African continent. Yeah. So Kenya is well known all over the world, and this country got its independence. It was ruled by the British at that time, but now it's an independent country, so it gets to enjoy the freedom and also governance on ruling itself. So on matters politics, because politics also plays a very important role in our lives. There are some things which are going on in the map of Kenyan politics, and I thought it's wise that we share it, because I know I have a lot of Kenyan followers in my channel, and from the request I got, they want us to share something politics. So guys, that's a sunset to the other side there. So sunset to the other side there. That's how beautiful. I'm touching actually the sunset there in Africa. That's how it sets here in Africa. Our beautiful sunset here in Africa to the other side. Hope you enjoy the golden sunset here in Africa, as we share something political in our scenes of this country called Kenya. So there's something which really was very interesting this week on the matters politics. Actually, guys, that's our solar panel there. This other side there, so you can see. So actually, the downer one here, that is the light. This one, actually, the upper one also, that is a panel. The other side there, and those are the plants which have grown really up. We love the green there, but at night that light there shines and also gives us some light to this other side here. So we also embrace the green technology. So that's very that is a natural, or that's a green source of energy, and that's what we use normally here in Africa. So our small light lamp there, which really emanates a lot of light for us, so that we get to use, especially when we are outside, and also doing some activities which really we want to do. So guys, welcome to our video. Kindly, for those who have not subscribed, I want to encourage you that you subscribe, and also I want you to enjoy our video. And if you have any comments, you have any information you want us to share, you can always give it, and also share it, so that we get to give you the best. Because like I always tell you, the channel is for you, and it's for us, so that we get to enjoy the kind of environment and also information which emanates from us, so that we give you the best kind of videos which you want. That's actually our famous Cinderella here. Those are local vegetables. I always tell you they are very high in iron, and we get to take them, especially when it's a dry month like this. This is very enjoyable, and also when you pluck it like this, you get to fry it, so that you get to enjoy such kind of vegetables. Actually, getting a better one, that's one of them there. So we get to enjoy such kind of environment, and also such kind of foods. So guys, in the sense of politics, something interesting happening in the scene of politics here in Kenya. Uh, we lost a professor who used to man the Ministry of Education here in Kenya. Ministry of Education is a very important uh, kind of ministry here in Kenya, which is run by the government. So we had a minister called in our former government, which was run by Uhuru Kenyatta. We had a professor called Professor Magoa, who was he was a very determined guy, and did a lot of good changes, and also brought a lot of sanity to the Kenyan education. So that guy unfortunately died the other week, and something very interesting happened. We got the former president choosing one of his best ministers, that is Dr. Matiang'I, to run to run and also arrange on what should be done in the funeral of that guy, and also make proper arrangements, so that the guy is given a good send off as a sign of appreciation from the former president Uhuru Kenyatta. So this was in disregard of the current president William Ruto, uh, but actually that guy uh, served the president very well, the former president, and also brought a lot of sanity, especially in matters national exam. If you have not watched our video which I shared about national exam last week, you can check, and I have a video there on the national exams in Kenya, and how what really conspired about them. So this guy called Professor Magoa did a very great job in bringing sanity, and also seeing the kind of result, especially we saw in the performance of the national exam. So actually, when this guy was nominated, or the Professor Magoa's death brought about the issue about Dr. Matiang'I coming over. We've not seen him for some time, since the government of the day, which Dr. Matiang'I and Professor Magoa was manning, did not win the election as it was expected. So we have a new government with the new Minister for Education, and also with other ministers. But we had the former president get someone to come and run the show, and also see the proper send-off of the former minister called Professor Magoa. So the coming on of and also the kind of trust which we see with the former president Kenyatta, and the current we see with Dr. Matiang'I, and also the kind of relationship which was there between Uhuru and Dr. Matiang'I is really very interesting. and also it doesn't augur well with the current government, as we could see from the body language. But there's something I want to say about Kenyan politics, especially when we bring about the factor called Dr. Matiang'I and also the government. I will share the video what Dr. Matiang'I talked about when he was given the assignment, and also he was giving the briefing to the president, the former president, on what really conspired uh, about and what was conspired according to the arrangement which the guy was making. So it's very important we get the point that really that's the former president trusted Dr. Matiang'I so much to call him from leave to come and make arrangement for the burial arrangement for that guy. And from the body language, it doesn't only look that he called him to come and do the job. He also wants to put him in the limelight in the Kenyan politics, and also show him that he is very relevant in what is happening in Kenya. There is a hearsay going here and there that the kind of rallies the opposition leader Raila Odinga is organizing and doing here in Kenya, they are supported by the former president called Uhuru Kenyatta. That's a hearsay. We don't know the truth about it, but that is politics. And in my language, they say, if you hear it is being said, don't ignore it. If it has not happened, it is on the way coming, so you get prepared. So it's very important to not to ignore the Matiang'I factor and the Uhuru factor in the current government. So I think with the kind of body language we see from the current government, and also its politicians and the way they're responding to everything, politics, and also the Uhuru factor in the current government, especially when we see the government calling Uhuru Kenyatta's family and everyone to come and pay taxes which have not paid for long. We saw the kind of response which Uhuru Kenyatta gave over the same. So it always tells us that even if the former president is out of government, he is not out of politics, and he is a great factor, especially in the Kenyan politics, which cannot be ignored, especially with the kind of arrangement he has made with Dr. Matiang'I, and also him coming over to do some function. I think they are testing waters and see what this guy can do. For those who don't know Dr. Matiang'I has been in the government for the last 7 years, for the former government, and he really brought a lot of changes in many sectors of the Kenyan, especially the Kenyan economy. He used to be the minister for information, and at that time the Kenyan operations, especially on the information systems and everything, it was about analog TV changing to digital TV. This guy brought a lot of change in that area, and currently Kenya is on a digital platform courtesy of this guy called Dr. Matiang'I. It was not an easy thing to do because there was a lot of resistance, and the media people thought they own everything about media, but he brought about many changes which saw Kenya to change from the analog kind of broadcasting to digital platforms of broadcasting, which now it is really working for Kenya. So even giving us an opportunity now, we can do this kind of videos here on YouTube and also share them in other platforms, because that is the only way it could involve other people. He removed these things from monopoly of a particular kind of media to all people to be involved, and also to improve the kind of information and how the information is shared easily. Through that change, it was a struggle, but he changed that thing. The second thing, when he came to education, when he was the Minister for Education, he really brought a lot of changes which really influenced how now education is being handled here in Kenya. So him with the late Magoa, he really brought a lot of changes, which now we enjoy here in Kenya about matters education. And education is a very big part here in Kenya because it takes a lot of exchequer money to get it organized, and also it also involves getting funds from other countries like the World Bank, and also from the other governments to improve matters education, which we now see here in Kenya. So the guy brought a lot of great changes and also brought a lot of sanity in education, and everyone, including the young kids, they know this guy is a no-nonsense guy. And at that time, he brought a lot of changes, including getting the cartels out of the education sector so that it gets to be sanitized and also to serve very well and deliver whatever the president wanted him to do. Another thing, when he was in the interior ministry, that guy brought a lot of changes in the interior ministry and also served his boss very well. That's the President Uhuru Kenyatta, and brought what he wanted him to do, especially in the education, in the matters internal security, and which a lot of people now enjoy through these great changes which he brought about in the interior ministry, because that is involves also security. So this guy, while in the interior ministry, he brought a lot of good changes which really influenced how the country operated. And at some point, he was appointed by the former president Uhuru Kenyatta to be the super minister. He was in charge of all the ministries at some point, and this really brought a lot of heat on the current president, who was then the deputy president. It did not augur well with him because he felt that his powers were taken off by Dr. Matiang'I. So this guy, he was a really trusted guy by the former president, and he really did a great job on bringing about the sanity and also a lot of discipline in the cabinet. And also he was an no nonsense guy in his work, so he delivered a lot of good things for the president and also brought a lot of good changes which the president wanted in his ministry. That's actually the sunset to the other side there. As you can see, our sun is setting in Africa, to the other side there, as we continue sharing on the matters, this politics here in Kenya. So guys, this guy called Matiang'I brought a lot of good changes here in Africa, especially in Kenya. When he was in interior, he was chosen uh, he was the super minister, as some will call him. So he really enjoyed those powers, and also the most importantly, is a guy who delivered best for the president. He had a lot of regard and respect for the president and also the power, and also he understood his assignment very well, and also he understood operations very well, so that when it came to implementation, he did a very great job on whatever assignment he was called to deliver to. So this is very important, and this is not a guy who you can brush off like that. So my small observation and also advice to the current president: if you want someone who can deliver for you and also who can do very well, don't ignore, especially don't ignore someone called Dr. Matiang'I. And also, I can tell you for free, don't ignore the Uhuru factor in your politics. So find a way to work with those people, and also so that they can bring sanity to kind of politics. Yes, now you're the president. That's President Ruto. Yeah, you won. Many people voted for you, but you cannot ignore the former president, and also yeah, the kind of he understands many things about the Kenyan politics, and also there's a way he can make your work easier in the Kenyan politics. By the way, some Kenyans feel, and most of the Kenyans feel, that you are a very wise person, and they know, yeah, you are educated, yes, you are very wise. Even the way you won your election, yeah, kudos for that. We congratulate you for that, and we love you. We love you for that. But you don't ignore, especially you want now people who are technocrats, like Dr. Matiang'I, who understand what you want to deliver to Kenyans, and also give sanity to the kind of politics which we have here in Kenya. If you get a Dr. Matiang'I, if you don't get Dr. Fred Matiang'I as a person, get a Dr. Matiang'I ideas into your kind of the system. For example, if you look at the kind of deputy you have who talks, people feel that he talks carelessly. You know, yeah, you may be, don't be, I think the guy is in a very comfortable zone, and there's a law in politics which say don't outshine your boss. So this guy always tries to outshine the president, the way he talks. Also wants to talk like the president. Yes, you are a deputy president, but there are things which you can't outshine your president. But the kind of deputy president we have in Kenya now is he really tries to outshine the president, and we don't call that wisdom, because when you do some things outside and sometimes you talk things which are outside, and also you don't know the implication of them, and also you want to show that you are always in control of everything, then that such kind of things cannot be very good for you. You know, like in the former government, that is the previous government of Uhuru Kenyatta, we had an issue with the president and the deputy president, till the president got Fred Matiang'I to be the super minister. Actually, he was acting like the deputy president for the last 5 years of the Uhuru Kenyatta government, and he really did a good job on delivering to the president. I can't be surprised to find that we will have someone like a super minister, the likes of Matiang'I, to be super ministers and also run the show in the government, because the main aim of the government and also the president is them, because he wants to get into the second to be chosen in the second term, is that he must get someone who delivers for him, actually, and that person who is really expected to understand the agenda of the president and also the government, and also implement what is best for the government, is supposed to be the deputy president. But the kind of rhetoric, the rhetorics, body language we see from the deputy president is full of ego, full of I can call it not with a lot of wisdom. So it brings a lot of bad image for the presidents and also the government. So my advice for the current president, President Ruto, yes, you are in power, but you need to sanitize your people, especially the kind of ministers you have. Some of them cannot help you deliver your agenda, but I know you are wise enough to make that decision. And I can tell you, Fred Matiang'I can really deliver. Give him the agenda is that guy, if given the agenda to understand what the government needs, he can really deliver. So I told you, if you can't get Fred Matiang'I as a person, don't fear him. Get the ideas from him on how to run who can run the government. Because you can't run, I know you are very wise, you are a very you are very observant, and also you take in a lot of study, and also through your education also, and the way you do your research, you can do very well. But it's good you find someone else also who can also implement what you want to deliver. Yes, you have good for Kenyans, but you also need someone who is very aggressive, somebody who has a stand, somebody who is rigorous in the activities, and somebody who understands the assignment. But for free, I can tell you, your deputy president doesn't understand your assignment, and also doesn't understand the aim of your government. The thing is, he's surprised that he's in power, and that surprise has never gone from him. It is not time now to get surprised that you are the deputy president. It's time to deliver, and also give give the government what's supposed to give to the Kenyans. So Kenyans are educated, Kenyans learn, Kenyans see. So kindly, this is very important. Get a Fred Matiang'I idea to your government, or get do it the whole way. Get somebody who is a super minister. I can tell you the deputy, the super minister you have, most of the ministers you have, they can't deliver for you. You need someone who is a technocrat and who is ready to take even risks to run this government in the best way possible, so that you get where you want to get. Because yes, you can't run this show alone. You want somebody who can support you over the same and take control and tame your ministers, someone who can tame your ministers when in your absentia, and who can really push them to deliver on what you have. I know you have a very good agenda, but with the kind of ministers you have, there is a challenge there to implement what you want to implement. So that is that's a common man idea, but very important, because things also talk for themselves, and hope you get to see this. In the next, I'm going to share the video where Matiang'I talked, and you can really find a lot of sense in what the guy is talking about. I'm not campaigning for him. I don't know. I've never met him, but that guy Matiang'I is really a person who can do good for Kenyans, and he has done good for Kenyans. Given an opportunity, he can deliver what he's supposed to deliver. Guys, welcome to our video, and kindly, if you have not subscribed, Future Talks is our channel, home of politics, home of medical facts, home of entertainment. Kindly welcome, and also enjoy this video. It is from the video, you can also tell me what you feel on the comments down below, so that we get to share the best for you. But for now, kindly watch Dr. Matiang'I addressing the family of Magoha in the presence of Uhuru Kenyatta, and what he talked about. For me, it makes a lot of sense. I don't know about you. Let us meet in the comments, and let us meet in the next one. Thank you guys very much. Have a good evening. Have a good day. Thank
you. Your Excellency, the fourth President of the Republic, Your Excellency, our wonderful, gracious First Lady, my colleagues from past service in government, the wonderful family of Professor Magoha, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, we've been together with this family since you asked us last week. Immediately this happened, that we tried to step in and work with them to deal with what Professor was handling just before he passed away. So we had the opportunity to sit with Michael, Joseph and Dora to deal with the function that happened on Saturday, and now we're here. And for that, we sincerely thank you, Your Excellency. On behalf of my colleagues, many of them have sent messages of condolences. And Your Excellency, when you called us round, all of us were in the country, were in that meeting with Michael and with Joseph and Dora. Some have had to travel because of commitments. But I'm here today with my colleague, my sister, Professor Margaret Kobia, who served as a CS for Public Service. My brother, Ukuri Atani, who served as the Lord Chancellor of the Exchequer. My brother, Peter Munya, who served as Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture. My friend, Joseph Musheru, served as CS for ICT. And my brother, Eugene Wamalwa, who served as Minister for Defense, and who also represented all of us at the burial in Game on Saturday. To be frank with you, I have a very long story to tell about Magoha, because, as you know, I probably am one of the very few people who are privileged to work with Magoha very closely for about 7 years, 6.5, 7 years in government. Your Excellency, You may recall that sometime in November 2015, and he moved us around. I woke up in the Ministry of Education with all its troubles at that time. The whole story will be in my memoirs when they're published. But I remember that phone call at midnight when you asked me, "Umesikia yale nimefanya?" I said, "Yes, sir. Takueleza kesho what I want to do." Anyway, long story short, when I came to Nairobi, you spelled out what you wanted done. Then we started the work of putting together a system that would help remake our education sector. Then in around January, February, you appointed Professor Magoa as the chairperson of the Kenya National Examination Council. And I remember that memorable Saturday morning, as though it happened yesterday, when you rounded us up, together with my peers then, Belio Kipsang, Nancy Masharia, Secretary TSC, Professor Magoa, and myself. And you spelled out clearly what you wanted done. You said must bring an end to examination cheating in this country. My colleagues know what we go through during those situations. Because you said, mwaje ujinga wa kusa mutiani hapo. And you said this year, it's not going to happen. Ama mutafute njingine. Then that was the clarion call or order that we needed, which led to the formation of an amazing fraternity in government during some of my happiest days in this life. We teamed up, as you directed then, with CS Musheru, then CS ICT, my brother, the late Joseph Kaiseri, the CS for Interior. And you imposed a very punishing schedule on us. I'm now saying that after I've left the government, but you imposed a very punishing schedule on us, wanting updates on a fortnight basis of what we were doing to address the mess in the education sector. And we worked slavishly but very happily, because you outlined specific results you wanted, and all those wonderful people. And may the Lord bless the late Joseph Kaiseri and now my brother Professor Magoa. I have never been happy, and I've never worked with such wonderful people. From the Kenyan School of Leadership in Mount Kenya, where we went that time with Joe Musheru, Joseph Kaiseri, and Magoa to meet with the DCCs and the education directors as you instructed us. We spent time there in the cold trying to build a system of collaboration between the Ministry of Interior and the Ministry of Education to manage exams, to make sure we sort this out. Professor Magoa was so committed that he actually traveled to Uganda himself, because when we were looking at various systems around and we thought we could borrow a leaf from here, borrow a leaf from there, and so on, that which was close, he was so committed that he traveled himself. He said he doesn't want hearsay. He came here, he brought the report together with a critique on what we would do and change the whole thing. And we had a very enjoyable time doing a hard but pleasurable task of remaking the education sector. You insisted that we will not dismantle the tripartite partnership between the Ministry of ICT, Interior, and the Ministry of Education. As Professor Magoa himself liked to put it, we are joined at the hip. And so we must work together all the time. We spent long hours meeting all those wonderful Kenyans, and God has blessed us with wonderful people, called district commissioners, county commissioners, regional directors of education, and all those people. Every day repeating to them that what President Kenyatta wants is ABCD, because Professor Magoa said, we serve at the pleasure of number one, and our job is to outline his vision and ensure that it's delivered. All the tasks you gave at the Ministry of Education, and let me say here without fear of contradiction, Because we live in a country where people are so dishonest, they love lies, they behave as if there was nothing happening yesterday. They are lecturing us now about things they think they are new. If Professor Magoha had not served as the Minister of Education, Your Excellency, your plan for NEMIS, the National Education Information Management System, will not have worked. And let nobody take credit for this. This was President Kenyatta's plan together with the World Bank, and that's how we got to where we are, the State and the Minister of Education. Your plan on expansion of school infrastructure through 20,000 classrooms would never have worked. Your reform of the school bursary system would never have worked. The school desks program, I remember when you demanded of us that we move money to the villages and get carpenters in every village and have the desks done in the villages. Then you told Professor Magoha and myself, you don't want a story, you want results. And we sat, at some point, even some of our senior officers were trying to be a little bit smart, where they would cut corners. Joe helps us get a hold of Safaricom and the data from there for Mpesa and payment. And we're able to move money on the digital platform very easily, across villages in the country. And many, many things that were done to remake the education sector in this country because of the commitment and the work and partnership that we did together. Professor Magoha was the turbo engine, and my colleagues can bear me out. Professor is the one who charged the room. Every time we were in the room, he's the one who supplied the energy. He was always vibrant and he wanted things to be done. And so, as one of our colleagues, CS Rachel Mamo, said the other day when we met, she said this, and frankly, I agree with her, that we celebrate Professor and we sincerely submit ourselves to the Lord and say this man actually completed his work. He was full of energy. He did all of his work. There was nothing that you did with Magoha that was undone. He did all of his work. He lived his full life. And I have to say this, because again, this is another aspect of our society. In a country where these days we hardly go through a day without being reminded about regions, who comes from what region and what region is important, what region should own government, and so on and so forth. Not once. And we hired across the board, we had many discussions. Your Excellency, not once did Magoha entertain a discussion about people's backgrounds, about people's ethnicity, about people's regions. Magoha was driven by only one consideration: delivery and excellence in getting the work done. His disdain for politics was not concealed, and his impatience for mediocrity was real. He had no time for pettiness and small talk, and small things around town. He was always driven for results. He said, what does number one want? That's what we do. And this is the way we go. For all of us who worked with Professor Magoha in cabinet, and for me and my colleagues in the education sector in the last 5 or 6 years, we'll be everlastingly grateful to God for the life of this, our wonderful brother. And if there is anything we can do in this world as a tribute to Professor Magoha, in our small way, wherever life takes us, wherever life finds us, we just try to emulate that thing. Honest, sincere delivery of service to the people, period. Nothing else matters. And because of that, a lot of work was done in our country. Your Excellency, there are many things to say. There's problems that you demanded solved and how you wanted. For example, the organization of the CQI program by the World Bank. We would never actually have discovered the challenges with that program if Magoha had not served as the Minister of Education. The program was going to be held hostage by certain officials of the ministry, and the government and the people of Kenya were going to lose if Magoha had not been minister in that. And when you insisted that you wanted to see for yourself the data and the facts and everything and how they were done, Magoha delivered. There wasn't that day that you gave assignments and you said things be done in a particular way that Magoha was saying or even grumbling. The other thing I never heard from Magoha for all the time that I worked with him, I never heard Magoha once whine and moan and grumble and complain about systems and people and what have you. He moved in one direction. When Professor Magoha stepped in the room, you knew a leader had arrived. When there was an argument, you predicted Professor Magoha's side even before the argument began. The side would be where the facts are, where the truth is. That is Magoha's side, no matter what. So, honestly, this erudite scholar, very solid academic of unparalleled credentials. There are many people in this world who claim academic credentials. Magoha didn't have to lecture anybody about them. He lived them and you saw them. Since he passed away, I've been called by so many people, colleagues we worked with in the education sector from across the region, because people know how useful Magoha was, for example, to the Inter-University Council of East Africa, to the university standards and the university commissioning credentials across this particular region. Some of our countries in the region could not actually approve their medical schools without Professor Magoha looking at their curriculum. I hope that in celebrating him, we emulate those good things he did. Finally, I am not in authority these days, so I can only share hopes. I hope that somebody somewhere in this environment, in the context of all these things that happen and the cacophony and the noises that we hear every day, many of them unhelpful to anybody, will think about how we can immortalize Professor Magoha's contribution to our society. Either one university will create a chair and name it after Professor Magoha, or a scholarship program and name it after Professor Magoha, or name a research program after Professor Magoha. And actually, if people were to be very honest and sincere, like the universities, and do something like that, a lot of us ordinary citizens of this country who admired his life and had an opportunity to work with him will make our small sacrifices and contribute to that, because that is the greatness of our society. Magoha exhibited the best of Kenya, not the worst of Kenya, the best of our country. And I believe when I see some of the things I see somewhere, someplace these days, I believe Kenya is better than this. And I think about great people like Professor Magoha. And let all of us go forth and do whatever we can. There's only one request I have, and I was asked to make on behalf of my cabinet colleagues. Mama, I'm told there are 1 or 2 kids that Professor Magoha was supporting for school fees. Michael, my cabinet colleagues, those of us who served with Magoha in cabinet, under the leadership of our president, we will make a contribution, because the president told me to talk to my colleagues in cabinet to see whether there's anything he can help us to do to support 1 or 2 of those kids that Magoha was supporting. Let none of them be stranded on account of our brother's departure. Our president is keen on this. He has invested a lot on this. He will help us and guide us to try and help some of those kids so that they are not stuck. And we will work together the way we have worked together, quietly with my brothers and sisters, ex-PSS, so that we also honor our colleague, because I think it's a morally right thing to do. It's the honest thing to do, and even in the face of God, it's the just and sensible thing to do at this time. We wish you all the best. All my colleagues who are not here, some of whom have traveled, have sent their messages of condolences. They're here. Michael, you know we are in very deep conversation with you on things that we need to do, some we don't need to say here. And I want to assure you, we will work with you. We'll do the best we can. no one, let's not pretend, no one will fit in Marwa's shoes. Let's not pretend. No one will fit in Marwa's shoes. We can only do the best we can, the way God will help us, or whatever God will help us to do, just to alleviate momentary pain and help you move to the next day as we all continue walking the journey of this life. May the Lord shine his face upon you. May the Lord hold you with his mighty right hand. May the Lord bless you indeed. And Michael, there's nothing more challenging than to walk in the footsteps of a towering father. May the Lord bless you so that as you sustain that name and that generation, God will raise you up to keep to that particular legacy. Thank you.